G'day guys, how you going? Hope you're all having a fantastic evening. I am back, and surprise, surprise, I'm going to be doing another movie review. So hopefully you are waiting with anticipation and hoping that this one can deliver to my usual standards. So here goes. This is another foreign film. It's from Denmark, so Danish language, English subs. Released in 2007, directed by the brilliant director Ole Bornedal, who also directed a much older film called Night Watch. It's a horror film. And this one is called Just Another Love Story. And the storyline to this one is as follows. Meet Jonas, a crime photographer and reliable family man. That is until the day his life is thrown upside down when he is involved in an explosive car accident. Jonas is compelled to visit the stranger Julia, who is left in a coma following the crash. Julia's family mistake him for Sebastian, the boyfriend she met in Cambodia, and he readily steps into the role. Julia slowly recovers, and Jonas maintains the deception. Of course, memories return, as do boyfriends. An all-action, adrenaline-pumping thrill ride. Just Another Love Story will leave you breathless. So this centers around Jonas. He is a family man, and he's also a crime photographer. So he takes pictures of car crashes and all that for the records. So at the start of the film, he is involved in a car accident. Now, this car wasn't anything to do with his fault. This woman wasn't looking where she was going. I'm not going to give you why she was in such a rush. But by the time she realizes she's about to crash into Jonas's car, which is parked on the side of the highway, it's already too late, and she tries to steer away but clips the car and flips. So it's a horrible car accident. Now, Jonas is completely unscathed, but this woman is in a very bad way. So she's taken out of the car by Jonas, and immediately there is some sort of connection, like an invisible connection. Not love at first sight, but he feels that this was meant to be. So she's taken to hospital, she's in a coma, and Jonas, although it's not his fault, he still feels compelled to go and visit her and see how she's doing. So he gets to the hospital, and this is where Julia, the woman who's in the coma, her family mistaken Jonas for Sebastian, which is Julia's old boyfriend. And instead of admitting the truth, very stupidly, he says, yes, I am the boyfriend, and he starts to get a connection with this family. So this leaves him in a very bad situation, because as the film goes along, he's starting to connect with Julia, but at the same time, he's got a wife and kids of his own. So he's really torn between two families here. He's got himself in a real pickle. And to make matters even worse, her memory is starting to recover, and things from her past are coming back, including her boyfriend Sebastian. So things are threatening to really get out of hand, and by the time that Jonas realizes this, it could be too late. So that's as far as I'm going to go synopsis. If you want to know more, I would highly recommend you go and check this one out. I think this is one of the most interesting stories you can come across. So if this one doesn't interest you, I don't know which one will. So that is as far as I'm going to go with the rundown. Now my thoughts on the movie. I didn't know exactly what to expect with this one. This is not so much a horror film, it's a noir film. Now when I say noir, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, it's kind of like another French film called Lemming. I've also reviewed that. Now Lemming didn't rely on blood and guts, and neither does this one, although it does have some blood and some memorable scenes of violence. It really is a slow building, and it's solely reliant on atmosphere. It's a very atmospheric film, and it is a story about things getting out of hand before you know it. And you think you got a lid on things, but they get out of hand, and then all of a sudden we're in a real pickle. We don't know where to go, we don't know what to do. And that's exactly what Jonas does. And Ole Bornedal has delivered another classic. This is not as good as Night Watch. Very hard to compare because they are two different films, but there are elements of horror in this one. So even horror fans, I'd still suggest you go out there and see it. It's also a love story, but it's a very tragic love story. So it kind of reminds me of something William Shakespeare would have written. So cinematography was absolutely breathtaking. I mean, anything Ole Bornedal does is going to have quality, and this is one of them. The acting was very good. I recognised a few Danish actors there because I am into Danish cinema. So if you like me, into Danish cinema, you will recognise some faces here. Acting was very good. Not overly likeable, the main character, but the situation he got himself and his family into, you really kind of feel for him, but at the same time you really don't care whether or not this guy gets out of it alive or not. And that was my only criticism of the film. I felt that Ole Bornedal could have got a more likeable main character, but having said that, the storyline makes up for it. I think, as I said, I think it's one of the best storylines. It kind of reminds me of a Sandra Bullock film with Bill Pullman. I think it was While You Were Sleeping. Well, this is more of a hardcore version of that, and I actually think this is a much better film. The ending was very, very rewarding. So it goes for 100 minutes, which is not, not a short film, not a long film. Paced very, very well, but if you're not really into noir films, the more artistic kind of film that relies on visuals and atmosphere, you're probably not going to like it. But I would recommend you stay through it. If you feel it's dragging, stay through it, because I feel the ending is very good and it wraps things up very well, and it maintains, it stays true to the overall story of Deception. So as I said, there are a little bit of violence in this one. There is a rather shocking scene that I'm not going to give away, but the violence is few and far between. As I said, doesn't rely on gore, it relies on the creepy atmosphere, and that really reminds me of French noir films. So I'm not really a fan of that, to be honest. I like Lemming, and because Ole Bornedal was the director of this one, I had to give it a go, and I was really, really happy with what I got. So yeah, a very, very well made film. The soundtrack was very good, very relevant to the actual story. None of it seemed out of place. You get some films where you think, that didn't sound right. But Ole Bornedal has got it all, so he really knows what he's doing, and he's delivered with this one once again. So would I recommend Just Another Love Story? Yes, definitely. But if you're a fan of horror and, the splatter films, stay away from this one, because it's a much more slow-burning film. It's just a film, depicting what happens when you, do something that you don't think is going to have a major consequence, and things just spiral out of control when you think you've got control of it. So a very, very good movie from Denmark. I would highly recommend it. So yeah, go out there and see it. Alright guys, that's my review for this evening. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later. Bye.